All my life I look for you.
You know how it is with R&B. You remember the big songs, the wedding songs, the cookout anthems, the ones your parents played on Saturday morning when it was time to clean the house. But then there are the other songs, the ones that only show up in your life at 2 a.m. That one slow jam you taped off late night radio. The song you danced to once at a party and never heard on the radio again. The record that lived on an old cassette that got eaten by the tape deck. So in this video, we're counting down 10 forgotten 80s R&B soul songs that vanished without a trace, or at least vanished from the mainstream. If you know even half of these, your R&B card is platinum. This one hits you from the very first second. Before she even sings, that groove feels like walking into a packed 80s club. Lights low, sequins shining, sweat on the walls. It's that song the DJ throws on right when people are deciding if they're going home or staying out all night. The vibe here is pure post-disco soul. The bass is rubbery, the synths are bright, and Melba's voice is cutting right through everything. Joyful, confident, grown. It's a feel-good jam, but it still has that R&B warmth and church in the background vocals. You can two-step to it, you can line dance to it, you can just nod your head and feel fly. Love's Coming At You dropped in 1982 off her album The Other Side of the Rainbow, released through EMI America and Capitol. It was produced and written with the help of Paul Lawrence Jones III and Kashif, names that were all over early 80s R&B, and it went top 5 on the US R&B chart and top 2 on the dance chart, even hitting the UK top 20 before it quietly slipped away from mainstream radio. The song never really crossed over to the Hot 100 in the US, but in the UK and across Europe, it became a post-disco floor filler, and later crate diggers and house DJs rediscovered it for remixes and edits. You know that song that sounds like a smile? That's Happy. It sneaks in gentle with soft keys and a light mid-tempo groove, but underneath it all is real funk. It feels like riding in the car with someone you love, windows cracked, city lights sliding by. The mood is romantic, but not heavy. Only you can make me happy. It's not a begging slow jam. It's more like, I'm good because I got you. Bernard Jackson's lead vocal is silky and relaxed, backed up by tight harmonies, synth stabs, and a bass line that keeps everything moving. It's grown folks music, but you could still hear it at a family cookout. Happy came out as a single in 1987 from Surface's self-titled debut album on Columbia Records. It hit number 2 on the Billboard R&B chart, number 20 on the Hot 100, and even cracked the UK chart. But today, you rarely hear it outside of old school R&B stations and deep playlists. Oh man, baby. Fun fact, the song actually started life with British funk band High Tension as You Make Me Happy before Surface reworked it. And later on, producers and R&B artists kept sampling and replaying its feel for new tracks. That's how strong the groove is. This one feels like stepping into a mid-80s club in heels and big hair, knowing you look right. The first few seconds, that funky bass line, those electro hand claps, already tell you this is Minneapolis territory. Then Cherrelle comes in, playful and bold, with that flirty tone that made her a cult favorite. And when you talk, I just wanna kiss vibe is up-tempo, flirty, and funky. It's not a slow jam. It's a confident, I see you, and I'm not scared to say it, groove. The track is packed with little details, synth lines dancing around the vocal, tight drum programming, and hooky call and response moments that make it feel like a live party. You Look Good to Me was the opening track and first single from her 1985 album High Priority on Taboo Records. It was written and produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the same duo who would go on to define late 80s R&B with Janet Jackson and others. The song reached number 26 on the US R&B chart, but it got overshadowed when Saturday Love from the same album took off as a bigger hit. Fun fact, You Look Good to Me was basically Cherrelle walking into her prime. Critics now point to it as the moment Jammin' Lewis fully locked in her sound, that mix of sass, sweetness, and street. It's also popped up over the years on slow jams and quiet storm playlists, even though it's more of a funky two-stepper.
Flowers blooming everywhere with Venus and with...
This is one of those songs that feels like late night city lights. It doesn't rush, it slides in, soft synth pads, a heartbeat kick, a bass line that moves like a slow walk down a sidewalk at midnight. Mike Murphy's vocal is calm but full of tension, like he's whispering in your ear. The vibe is sensual, futuristic, and smooth. It's R&B, but with heavy synth pop DNA. All that 80s technology used in a way that still feels human and emotional. The chorus is simple and hypnotic, and the background vocals float around the lead like smoke. Released in 1987 as the title track from their album Don't Disturb This Groove on Atlantic Records, this became the system's biggest hit, number 1 on the US R&B chart and number 4 on the Hot 100. It was everywhere for a moment. And then, like a lot of 80s hits that didn't fit neatly into old school or new school, it faded from the mainstream conversation.
Hang the sign up on the door. It says, "Don't disturb this groove."
Fun fact, the song has been sampled and reworked by everyone from Tupac to Victoria Beckham, and even covered by R&B group Silk, proof that producers and singers kept going back to that groove for inspiration. This is straight up candlelight, slow dance energy. From the first soft piano and those gentle chords, you can almost see the slow dance floor at a school prom or a couple swaying in their living room after everybody else is asleep. It's tender without being cheesy, emotional without over-singing.
How about us? Some people can...
The vibe is classic early 80s R&B balladry. Smooth lead vocal from Paulie Carmen, soft harmonies, guitar licks that just peek in, and a chorus that feels almost like a question whispered in the dark. It's Quiet Storm at its finest, the kind of song that makes you think about the one that got away and the one you still have.
Get me wrong. Now don't you...
How About Us came out in 1981 as the title track from Champagne's debut album on Columbia Records. It crossed over hard, number 4 on the Soul chart, number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the Adult Contemporary chart, and it hit around the world from South Africa to Canada.
Some people are made for each other. Some people can love.
Fun fact, this wasn't even its first life. An earlier version of the same song was recorded by the group in the mid-70s under a different name before they recut it as Champagne and finally scored the hit.
Gotta hold your body tight.
The first thing you notice here is the space. The track breathes, the bass is warm, the drums are slow and steady, and Eugene's voice sits right on top like velvet. It feels like late night, lights low, quiet conversation turning into something more. The vibe is seductive, slow jam all the way.
Kick off your shoes and lay back and let me soothe.
That mix of romantic and grown that defined mid-80s bedroom R&B. Not trashy, not shy, just honest. There's a gentle guitar line, some floating keys, and backing vocals that slide in at just the right moments.
Hurry on to get us in the groove. And then let me see that.
Released in 1984 on Philly World The Atlantic from his self-titled album, Gotta Get You Home Tonight, went all the way to #1 on the US R&B chart, while only peaking at 83 on the Hot 118 in the UK. It was a massive slow jam in Black America, but the wider world kind of missed it.
Gotta get you home with me tonight.
Fun fact, years later, Foxy Brown flipped this track into her 1996 hit, Get Me Home with Blackstreet.
Kick off your shoes and lay back and let me soothe you.
Introducing the melody to a whole new generation of hip-hop and R&B fans who had no idea they were vibing to Eugene Wilde's work. From the first few seconds, this song feels like a confession. The group's harmonies slide in like a sigh, and the lead vocal sounds like somebody talking to themselves on a long walk home. It's tender, pleading, and very, very human. The vibe is sweet soul ballad with early New Jack flavors creeping into the drums and arrangements.
But that's not what I want to do.
You still get the classic vocal group stacking, harmonies, ad-libs, that big emotional lift in the hook, but it's wrapped in 80s production, echo, reverb, and a drum machine heartbeat under everything. Here I Go Again came out in the mid-80s from their album Chillin' on Tommy Boy Records, produced and mixed by Robin Halpin.
I want to do.
It reached number 18 on the US R&B chart and even scraped the UK chart, but it never matched the crossover success of their mega ballad Tender Love or Love Is a House. Force MDs started out doing street performances in Staten Island, blending doo-wop harmonies with early hip-hop.
Still I want more.
By the time they recorded this song, they were helping to shape the sound that would become New Jack Swing, even if they don't always get the credit.
So, please be gentle. Please be gentle.
This is one of those songs that feels like you just discovered a secret. The opening groove is pure mid-80s boogie, soft but funky bass, glowing keys, and a tempo that makes you want to two-step in slow motion. Then the vocals come in and it turns into a full-on soul conversation. The vibe is intimate, romantic, and slightly dreamy.
Honey, I'll take my time, I'll wait for you.
Frederick's lead has that laid-back, emotional tone, and Janis Dowland's parts float around him like a second heartbeat. It's not a power ballad, it's a mood. The kind of track you play late at night when you're thinking about texting someone you probably shouldn't.
Loving you, wanting to please you.
You're lying next to me.
Gentle, Calling Your Name, came out around 1985 on Heat Records. It didn't become a national smash, but in parts of the US, especially in the Midwest, it became a huge local favorite. Often described as one of the most beloved R&B soul recordings ever cut in Northeast Ohio.
I'll be gentle.
Please be
when I
Underground collectors and DJs have treated this record like gold for years. Original 7-inch copies still circulate among boogie and modern soul heads, and the track shows up in holy grail lists for 80s R&B vinyl.
look straight into my eyes.
I know our love was meant to be.
This is one of those songs where the first chord hits and you feel your chest tighten. The Rhodes piano glows, the groove is slow and steady, and Debra's voice comes in soft but sure, like she's letting you read pages from her diary. It's tender, vulnerable, and strong at the same time. The mood is pure quiet storm.
Holding. Love is life.
It's a love song, but it's not lightweight. There's a maturity to it. The kind of record that played on late night R&B radio while people were lying in the dark, thinking about who they loved and who they should have loved. Very Special was released in 1981 as the title track from Debra's debut album on Elektra Records.
Through these days, adventure.
Once my love.
Produced by her brothers, jazz greats Hubert and Ronnie Laws, it reached number 11 on the R&B chart and number 90 on the Hot 100. It wasn't a huge pop hit, but inside the R&B community, it became a quiet classic. The song has been sampled and covered multiple times. From Big Daddy Kane to Jennifer Lopez, and it even sparked legal fights over unauthorized sampling. But no matter how many times people flip it, the original still feels like the purest version.
Make a dream come.
This is Vocal Church, plain and simple. From the very first note, you can tell David Peaston came up singing in the sanctuary. His tone is rich and full, and the way he climbs through the melodies makes the whole song feel like a prayer and a love letter at the same time. The vibe here is classic late 80s big-voiced ballad. The arrangement starts simple, slow drum pattern, keys, bass, and then builds. Strings swell, backing vocals rise behind him, and by the time he hits those high pleading notes near the end,
A soul on fire.
it feels like you're watching a live performance, even if you're just hearing the studio version. Can I was released in 1989 from his debut album Introducing David Peaston on Geffen Records. It reached number 14 on the US R&B chart and showcased him as one of the most powerful male voices of the era. Even if he never became a household name the way some of his peers did. Fun fact, Peaston first made his name tearing the roof off Showtime at the Apollo. His performances there, including a Can I, are still passed around online by vocal fans as examples of how you really sing a ballad.
Ooh, baby.
The journey doesn't end here. R&B soul lovers, watch this next.